It is too windy outside for me to cook. I tried to make my lunch in the tailgate earlier. Wind kept blowing out the flame on the stove, so I came inside to cook, and then I realized this is a great day to make a video about how to cook when you're in your car, because either it's raining, it's snowing, it's too windy, you're stealth camping, living out of your vehicle, and you're sick and you can't get out of your car but you need something to eat. This is for anyone who has ever needed to cook inside a vehicle out of the elements. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm also going to show you a minimalist kitchen setup. So this is the same setup I use on my tailgate when the weather is beautiful and I can cook outside. It's the same gear that I use. A really small, really simple setup. My goal is always to minimize complexity. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I'm always aiming for the things that take the least amount of space and that get the job done the most efficiently. The best gear is the gear you already have. So I'm not sponsored by anyone. If you're in the market to buy something, this might give you some ideas, but as always, try thrift stores, used gear. Always try to get things on consignment or thrifted or borrow from a friend before you go buy brand new stuff. Before I show you each individual item, the things that I use for the setup, I'm just going to show you how the kitchen is set up inside the vehicle. I'm someone who's been overlanding, nearly full-time camping for the last 3.5 years out of my Subaru Outback. So let me show you how the whole setup looks in my car before I start to take it all apart. This is one half of the back of my Subaru. As you can tell, I didn't do a build. But let me know in the comments if you want to see a full tour of what's in the no build. This whole side of the vehicle is sort of the kitchen setup, and everything is under this blanket. I really like things to look beautiful in my environment and feel clean and simple, so that's why it's like this. So first, right here, my cutting board, my solar panels, and one of my kitchen boxes. And this is where I keep all of the items that I use to mostly cook out of, and I'll show you what all that is in a minute. Moving along, this blanket is here because it's winter right now, and I'm insulating my solar generator from freezing. This is a nice heavy blanket, plus this really warm down coat that keeps everything from getting frozen at night when it's really cold. So the next part of my kitchen setup is my solar generator. I'll speak a little bit more later about how I use that for my kitchen, but just know that this cord runs to the back of my vehicle. That is how I can charge while I'm driving, and also charge this by going outside and setting up these two collapsible solar panels outside, or I can take it and I can plug it in if I'm at the library or a coffee shop. All right, the next part of my kitchen setup is this cooler, although I don't really use it as a cooler. In the winter, it serves as a no freeze space. It just keeps things from freezing. And then in the summer, I actually move it down there and put it down low because that's where it stays the coolest, and I can insulate it with blankets to keep things from getting overheated. But again, I really just don't have things in here that need refrigeration, and that keeps everything really simple by doing it that way. Moving on back, I'm not going to get too much into today what is in this box, but this is what I would call my pantry. This is basically where I have my spices, nuts, just some basics. When I make my video about the meals that I make, I will get into the pantry items, the staples that I stock for full-time car camping, or it would also work for living out of your vehicle. So let me know if you want to know more information about the pantry. What I usually do is I just flip this over like that, because that keeps anything I'm doing preparation wise from splattering on my hats or my car seat over here. Frequently set up my cutting board like that, so then I have sort of a kitchen counter surface that I could work on while I'm getting in here to get the items I need. I can move it back and forth. The first thing I'm showing you might be a little bit surprising. I actually use regular dishes, pottery. I don't really like eating off of plastic cookware. I enjoy eating out of really beautiful artist pottery, things I've picked up on the road. This one was picked up in Madrid, New Mexico, outside Santa Fe. This one I got in Arroyo Seco, outside Taos. And this was made by a friend of mine in Durango when I first moved to Colorado more than 20 years ago. Her name was Jen. This is the dinnerware that I use to eat and drink out of. This is all the utensils that I have with me. I only travel with one or two. I think I have 2 spoons in here maybe. If I have more than one guest, they just need to bring their own spoon. So I have this titanium spoon. It's also pretty lightweight. It hooks onto a backpack if I want to use it backpacking. Doubles as a spork. It's not completely clean. It's camping clean. I have this for making tea. I do also occasionally buy tea bags, but I really like to just use a mesh tea basket. Some of the tea that I travel with is tea that I grew in my garden, and so this way I can just drink that or get teas as I travel from tea houses. This is for washing out my water bottles. This is for honey. And then I have a spatula. I did have a smaller spatula. I went with a different pan that I had, but it started to melt. I don't really like using plastic plastic spatulas. So now I've been traveling with this one and I like it better. And then this is where I keep most of the utensils and my knives. So I have a nice large knife, and then I have serrated knife, a pair of scissors. I have 4 chopsticks, so that allows me again to have one guest for noodles. I bought this pair of tongs, and they are for in the spring if I want to harvest cactus to make nopales tacos, like prickly pear cactus. If I want to harvest cactus, that's why I bought these tongs. This is my second spoon that I have. This is even lighter weight. It's a super long spoon too, ideal for backpacking to reach into long bags if you're eating backpacking meals. So both of these spoons that I have are super lightweight. Oh, look at that. I have a third spoon. I can have 2 guests over. This is my measuring spoon. There's a teaspoon on one end and a tablespoon on the other end. Also use it to mix if I want to mix up something, like if I make pancakes or something and I want to spoon out the batter. I like this because it allows me just to zip up the knives and keep them secure and everything when they're tucked down into the kitchen space. Okay, before I show you the items that I use to cook with, I'm also going to show you 2 things that I find really essential, and that is thermoses. I'm actually going to get one more thermos soon, and I'll tell you why in a little bit when I show you one of my cooking sources, one of my heat sources. I love having a way to heat up tea and carry it with me when I'm going to go snowboarding or hiking. I've had this thermos for so long, more than 10 years. I love its low profile, how thin it is, how easily it fits into a backpack. This I use for hot tea, but I've actually never put coffee in this because I didn't want it to smell or taste like coffee. But this could be good for coffee or tea. And then this thermos I use to make oatmeal in. So I'll heat up hot water. I'll dump in here oats and nuts and cinnamon and honey and whatever I'm going to put in there, and then just add hot water, put the lid on while I do something and journal or do yoga or go outside for a walk. And then when I come back, the oatmeal is ready to go. That's why I like thermoses, because you can just add the hot water to the ingredients, put the top on, go away, come back, and your food is done. That's one of the ways I cook inside my vehicle when the weather is windy outside or raining or something. But I'm going to show you how I heat up the hot water to put in that thermos next. All right, we've got 3 different ways that we can heat up food and water. One of them is optimal for in the car. The others are not as optimal. I have cooked in my vehicle using my JetBoil stove with the window rolled down, but I'm not saying to try that at home. I'm not recommending that. It's truly not that safe to do that. But I have rolled the window all the way down. You've probably seen that in some of my videos. When I made chai, I think in my last video, I was doing that during the snowstorm inside my vehicle. It's not ideal. If you did, I would recommend having a fire extinguisher. But I'll show you the JetBoil in case you're not familiar with it. This is the Minimo. The last 3.5 or 4 years, I've cooked most of my meals on the tailgate outside using this JetBoil Minimo. This hooks onto the fuel. I'm gonna make another video soon showing cooking outside the kitchen, so I'll show you exactly how I set this up. That does screw on there, and then the pot sets on top, twists and turns. Then you have a nice lid. And you do actually have a strainer on here, a way to pour out water, or a strainer that works like a colander. I had to go ahead and put it on there, but I didn't screw it all the way on so the fuel isn't coming out. Add the pot support to it. That allows you to put a skillet up there. I do have the JetBoil skillet. I recently stopped using it because some of the surface of the non-stick cookware was scratching. So I recently replaced that by using a cast iron. So this actually will set all the way on there. I'm not going to do it because it's not screwed on all the way, but this does rest on there. Again, I would not do this inside the vehicle, but this is part of my minimalist setup, but I would do this outside the vehicle. This just shows you a really simple, small way to have a kitchen setup, and that's why I'm showing you the whole thing right now. This is actually my backpacking stove. Let's say if something happened to my JetBoil and it stopped working, this is known as Pocket Rocket. Fits nicely into this tiny bag. Then you can just flip open the pieces on the stove, and then this screws onto the top. You can set something like this on top, up some water. I wouldn't recommend cooking food in that because it doesn't have a simmer function. The Minimo does have a simmer function, so it could cook at a little lower temperature. This just goes full blast. Again, I definitely would not do this setup in the car, but it's part of my minimalist cooking setup, so I wanted to show it to you today. I do travel with this one additional stainless plate. I don't tend to use it that often unless I'm mixing up cake with egg and banana, and if I'm doing that, I'll make that in this, but for the most part, I don't eat out of that. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you, I think, I'll probably show you how I wash dishes too, but the last piece of cooking appliances that I'm going to show you is my latest piece that I just got yesterday. It's that white thermos I showed you a second ago. I'm going to show you how I use it. I used to have an electric tea kettle that was collapsible. It was made out of silicone and it was collapsible, and that lasted 3 years. It recently just stopped working about 2 or 3 months ago. So I didn't have anything to use for a while. I was just using the JetBoil and the Pocket Rocket with this cup to heat up water for a while. So I just ordered this new tea kettle and I'm in love with it so much. First tea kettle that I had, pulling 700 or 800 watts on my solar generator. So it would bring it down 10%. If I was parked in one area for a few days, I didn't have a lot of sun, my generator would get drained pretty fast using that other tea kettle. There was a minimum amount of water that I had to put in it. I couldn't just warm up a cup or two of water because that wasn't safe for using the tea kettle. So I would often warm up more water than I need. So that's why I love this one so much. So let me show you. But all I have to do is plug it into the solar generator. It only pulls 300 watts. So it just drains like 3% of the battery. I can heat up the smallest amounts of water with this, which is amazing. You can see the max fill, which I think is like 2 cups. The minimum is way down there. So I can heat up just a cup of water. The other thing I love about it is it has multiple settings. So I can set it to either boil or just to warm up water, and it will only heat up as far as I need it to heat up, so it's not draining any more on the solar generator than I need it to. I can then just heat up water to add to like the oatmeal that I mentioned earlier. And then I had mentioned I'm gonna get another thermos, and that's why, because I like designating one for the oatmeal and having one for the noodles or the rice. End up not fully cleaning it from the day before, which if you camp, you know. So then I can have one that's oatmeal, one that's noodles and rice, and then keep it really simple. I did want to tell you about cleaning, washing dishes. Tell me in the comments if you have tips for washing dishes simply when you're car camping or living out of your vehicle. My favorite way to do it is just to wash it right after I use it with a paper towel or with baby wipes. Otherwise, I will heat up a little bit of water and then just put a little Dr. Bronner's in there, shake it up. It wipes out really easily. Another piece of it is that I don't travel with many animal products, and it's not that I'm a vegan or vegetarian. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. The animal product I really travel with is ghee for cooking, but in general, I just cook with vegetables, and then that makes it easier to not clean. If I don't clean it from one day to the next, it's not as big of a deal. I know some people will dump their dishwater on the ground. I tend to not do that. 2 videos ago when I was showing car camping at the lake, after I cooked the potatoes that night, I just poured the potato water in one of these bottles. When I get to somewhere else, I'll drain that water. I'm not changing the environment where I'm camped, so I'm not attracting animals close to my camp. I'll show you the chaos that I've created in making this video. It was all so tidy before I started it. I just spread out my whole kitchen all around me, but we'll be able to clean it up quickly. Another part of the kitchen, of course, is the water setup. So I'm going to show you the water situation. So in addition to usually filling up these 2 Nalgene's full of water, then I have backup water. This is a Dometic water container, and I have one more of these. I just have one with me right now for this camping trip. I've tried a few different water systems, and I like this the most. I did have a 5-gallon at one point. It was just really heavy to move around and maneuver, and I liked having something that was simpler. And so I just have 2 of these smaller. They're like 2.5, not quite 3 gallons in each of them. So they're really reasonable to move around, deal with. I can also pour them more easily in the car than I could when I had a 5 gallons. Other reason I really like small ones. Again, you don't need a Dometic water container to do. You could use anything for water. I'm just showing you my water system and what I do. All right, each of my water containers has a spout that goes on it. Because of the size of this, I can pour it right here in between my seats and set it up like a water station right here. I don't have to have more space than this. I couldn't have done that with the 5-gallon. So yeah, you can see this fits really nicely in the space between the seats, and I can easily get to the water I need to get to without having to get out of the car. Basically, when I have that water container out, I just fill up every water container that I have. It just simplifies things. So if I'm not in a situation where I can get out of my vehicle, I need to do everything inside my car. I've got all the waters coordinated. I don't have to drag that big thing out again. Anytime you can think through those systems ahead of time and simplify things, that just cuts down the complexity for when you need to prepare food for yourself. I showed you everything that's in my kitchen and taught you a little bit about what I do if I need to cook inside my vehicle. If there's something I didn't answer, will you let me know in the comments? Or if there's something you want a video about, let me know. If you're feeling extra generous today and you want to tap subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate you. This is a brand new channel. My goal is to really help people who want to get outside and have more fun, or people who are just trying to survive by living out of their vehicles. And I want to reach as many people as possible, so your subscribing and your thumbs up and your comments below help me reach those goals. I also talk on this channel about self-discovery and personal growth and developing confidence to live the life that you want to live. So if those things interest you, I would love to see you in the next video. Sending you so much love always.